Never stop reading Bible. All right, let's dive into an incredible story. It's about betrayal, but it's also about forgiveness. We're going to see how one family's devastating crisis actually sparked a journey that would end up creating an entire nation. So that brings us to the big question, right? How does a family that's just been shattered by betrayal somehow become the very foundation of a nation? I mean, how does all that pain and separation transform into a story of survival and even purpose? Well, let's find out. And we're going to start right at the most dramatic moment. Okay, so here we are. The story kicks off right at its most intense emotional peak. The tension has been building for years. Secrets have been buried deep. And now everything is about to just explode into the open. Just try to picture this scene. You've got Joseph, who is now this incredibly powerful ruler in Egypt, and standing right in front of him are the same brothers who sold him into slavery all those years ago. Then, his brother Judah makes this gut-wrenching plea, even offering his own life to save the youngest brother. And that's it. Joseph just breaks. He can't pretend anymore. And this is where things get wild. Instead of revenge, which is what anyone would expect, Joseph offers this just radical new way of looking at everything. He completely reframes all of his suffering. He tells his terrified brothers, hey, that horrible thing you did, it was actually part of God's plan to save us all from this awful famine. It's just an absolutely breathtaking moment of grace. And right after this incredible moment of forgiveness, Joseph gets down to business. There is no time to waste dwelling on the past. He immediately lays out a clear, strategic plan to rescue his entire family. He's like, go back to our father Jacob, tell him what's happened, and bring everyone, and I mean everyone, here to Egypt. So the family is emotionally back together. But now comes the really hard part, the physical journey. We're talking about a massive move. An entire clan is about to uproot their whole lives and head into the unknown, all because of the news from a son they honestly thought was dead for decades. You know, this isn't just a family moving house. This is a pivotal moment in history. Along the way, at a place called Beersheba, the patriarch of the family, Jacob, gets this divine reassurance. He's basically told, don't be afraid, go, this journey is blessed, and your family is going to grow into a great nation in this new land. And just like that, a trip for survival becomes a journey of destiny. And get this, the entire clan that made this journey was only 70 people. 70. It sounds like such a small number, but it's so incredibly important. From this one family, every single man, woman, and child, a whole nation would one day spring forth. And then we get the reunion we've all been waiting for. After 20 years, 2 decades of grief and separation, a father and his son finally embrace again. Jacob, who was convinced his favorite son was dead, is now holding him in his arms. It is truly the emotional climax of this entire long journey. So, they've made it. The family survived the journey, they're reunited, but now what? What does their future in Egypt actually look like? I mean, how does a family of immigrants plant roots and build a legacy in what was then the most powerful empire on the planet? Well, the difference between what happens to them and what happens to the Egyptians is just stark. It's night and day. While the famine is so bad that the local Egyptians have to sell their livestock, their land, everything, just to survive, Jacob's family gets the VIP treatment. They're settled in Goshen, the absolute best land in Egypt, and Joseph makes sure they have everything they need. They don't just survive, they really, really thrive. Jacob actually lives for another 17 years in Egypt, and it's a time of peace, of prosperity, a pretty calm end to a life that had been filled with so much chaos. But as he gets older and knows his time is short, his focus starts to shift away from the comfort of Egypt and toward a promise for the future. Yeah, even with all the security and wealth that Egypt has given his family, Jacob makes Joseph swear a solemn oath. His final wish is this: do not bury me here in Egypt. Carry me back to the promised land to be with my ancestors. This just shows his unshakable faith that Egypt, as great as it was to them, was just a temporary stop, not their final. So when you boil it all down, what are the big takeaways from this incredible story? Well, first, that even the worst hardship can be part of a bigger, more meaningful plan. Second, that forgiveness really does have the power to heal even the deepest family wounds. And finally, that the journey of one tiny family can literally become the origin story of a nation. And this whole story leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. See, Jacob was guided by a promise for the future, even when he was safe and comfortable. So it kind of makes you ask yourself, right? What are the promises that guide our own journeys forward?
Thanks for joining us for this explainer. This material was brought to you by the Center Studio.